Most people come up to me after over 200 shows. They'll say, the scene I remember most is when you and Archie discussed how you put socks and shoes on.
For decades, All in the Family has stood as one of television's most groundbreaking and controversial sitcoms. As the show enters its legacy years, Rob Reiner, who famously portrayed Michael Meathead Stivic, has opened up about the tensions that bubbled under the surface while filming the iconic show. At 79, Reiner reflects on the tensions behind the scenes, especially his on-set interactions with Carroll O'Connor, known for playing the outspoken and conservative Archie Bunker. The dynamics on the set of All in the Family were often as layered as the show's complex themes of generational and ideological conflict. While the cast shared tremendous respect for each other's talent, the pressures of working on such a daring and socially charged series occasionally created friction. Actors were frequently required to bring their own values and perspectives to a script that pushed boundaries, and this led to creative and ideological tensions, both subtle and overt. Reiner once revealed in an interview with Deadline that rehearsals could be tense, particularly during episodes that tackled explosive topics such as race or abortion. The often collaborative process of shaping scenes could become challenging, as each actor felt a personal responsibility for how their characters' views and actions reflected the larger conversation occurring in society at the time. Reiner himself was vocal about certain lines or scenarios, sometimes advocating for adjustments to make Michael's character more reflective of the growing student activism of the 1970s. Crew members have shared similar insights. According to assistant director Burt Metcalfe in a 1999 Television Academy panel, the atmosphere on set could swing wildly depending on the political weight of a given episode. Metcalfe noted, "Nobody would leave the table read without throwing their perspective into the mix." This was especially true when scenes required balancing humor with potentially polarizing subject matter. The actors' personalities also played a role. Sally Struthers, often observing the debates from the sidelines, once remarked in an interview with TV Insider, "It wasn't just Archie and Mike sparring. Carroll and Rob would hash it out like it was a debate stage." But that kind of intensity is what brought authenticity to the family dynamic. Jean Stapleton, by comparison, tended to serve as a calming presence during such moments. Her portrayal of Edith, the moral and emotional anchor of the Bunker household, was mirrored by her real-life temperament, according to several colleagues who described her as the quiet glue that kept the cast grounded. Importantly, these differences were rarely destructive and often contributed to the show's authenticity. The performances that audiences saw, Archie's eyebrow-raising remarks, Michael's exasperated rebuttals, or Gloria's moments of impassioned frustration, were at times amplified by the genuine tension on set. It wasn't just acting, it was a reflection of real, unscripted exchanges, underlining the show's commitment to portraying a family navigating divisive issues in a rapidly changing world. This collaborative friction, while not always easy to navigate, elevated the series. In fact, Norman Lear intentionally created an environment where these types of debates were welcomed. He believed that the set should mirror the larger discussions playing out in households across America. These dynamics, while sometimes challenging, likely helped shape the character relationships fans still resonate with today. Rob Reiner and Carroll O'Connor's dynamic on set served as both a creative advantage and a source of friction during All in the Family's production. Unlike many workplace conflicts that arise from personal grievances, their tension was almost entirely rooted in their different perspectives on both their characters and the storylines. O'Connor, a classically trained actor with a methodical approach, often pushed for precision in his portrayal of Archie, even when it meant challenging the script or the director's choices. Reiner, on the other hand, brought a younger, more outspoken energy to his role, and he was not afraid to question certain elements of the storytelling or improvising lines during rehearsals. This clash of styles kept their collaboration robust, but occasionally strained. In a 2001 interview on Larry King Live, Reiner acknowledged the underlying friction with O'Connor. "We weren't arch enemies or anything like that, but we saw things differently, let's just put it that way." That difference often involved debates over the show's tone, with O'Connor favoring moments of levity even in politically heavy episodes, while Reiner often argued in favor of maintaining the realistic seriousness of their conversations. At times, these tensions even bubbled up in front of the crew. Crew members recounted in interviews how O'Connor and Reiner never let their disagreements escalate into personal animosity, but it was clear that their intense debates served as fuel for the characters they played. Norman Lear, in a 2005 panel discussion, stated, "What you saw on screen, the anger, the sarcasm, the frustration, those feelings were real, and they came from a deep passion both men had to get the story right." Despite the occasional clashing personalities, both O'Connor and Reiner viewed their work on All in the Family as one of the most meaningful experiences of their careers. And in hindsight, Reiner has admitted that these moments of tension ultimately enhanced the show. "Archie and Mike weren't supposed to agree, so maybe it helped that Carroll and I didn't always agree either," he reflected in an interview with The New Yorker in 2019. Norman Lear's fearless approach to controversial storytelling was the backbone of All in the Family. He viewed television not just as entertainment, but as a tool to confront societal issues head-on. Lear's insistence on authenticity led to frequent clashes with CBS executives who worried about alienating audiences. In his memoir, Even This I Get to Experience, Lear wrote, "If the audience doesn't hear what they hear at their own dinner tables, they won't recognize the truth we're trying to tell." This philosophy demanded daring scripts that tackled racism, sexism, and religion, not as abstract ideas, but as real, lived experiences. The boldness of these stories often led to heated discussions on set. Carroll O'Connor, who played Archie Bunker, frequently expressed concerns about how his character would be perceived. In a 1972 Los Angeles Times interview, O'Connor admitted, "Archie wasn't just comic relief, he was a mirror. But I worried sometimes that people were laughing with him instead of at him, and that's a dangerous line to walk." These concerns often sparked debates during rehearsals, particularly when Archie was scripted to deliver overtly bigoted remarks. Lear welcomed such input, believing it only strengthened the final product. Script supervisor Donna Stevens noted in an interview that Lear sat quietly during cast debate, only stepping in when discussions began to veer off course. "He wanted us to have these conversations because he believed the conflict made the performances more authentic," she shared. Balancing satire with sincerity remained one of Lear's greatest challenges. Rob Reiner, whose character routinely clashed with Archie, noted in a 2019 interview with The New Yorker that Lear trusted the audience to dig beneath the surface. "There were moments when you worried they'd miss the point, but Norman trusted people to figure it out," Reiner explained. This balancing act between presenting humor and sparking meaningful dialogue was not just a creative choice, it was a calculated risk that Lear believed was worth taking. Despite these challenges, Lear's unwavering commitment to addressing polarizing issues resonated with audiences and critics alike. He famously remarked in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, "I never set out to make a show people would agree with. I wanted to make something they'd talk about." The result was a show that not only reflected its time, but also shaped conversations for decades to come. Looking back decades later, Rob Reiner reflects on how the creative and professional tensions on the set of All in the Family ultimately contributed to the show's staying power. At 79, Reiner acknowledges that the debates and disagreements weren't always easy, but they mirrored the larger cultural conflicts the series aimed to explore. In an interview with The New York Times in 2020, Reiner commented on how the show's discomfort brought out its authenticity. "Nobody wanted to just play nice. The beauty of the show was that it made everyone uncomfortable, actors included. That's where the truth came out." This willingness to embrace discomfort not only pushed the cast, but also challenged audiences to think critically about the issues being presented. For Reiner, the legacy of the show isn't just about its humor or groundbreaking material, but about how it forced everyone involved, both in front of and behind the camera, to confront their own biases and perspectives. It wasn't clean or simple, Reiner stated in the same interview, but life isn't clean or simple either, and that's why it worked. By fostering an environment where creative tension was accepted, even encouraged, All in the Family created something greater than the sum of its parts. While the cast may not have seen eye to eye on every detail during production, their combined efforts resulted in a show whose impact is still felt decades later.